Good afternoon. Thanks for joining me for Final Score. What a semi-final in the darts. You know, I always think the pressure from the Lakeside Hockey must be enormous, almost as bad as coaching a football team. The managerial axe was swung again in the Premier League this week. That's now 8 managers gone this season, and as I speak, points, places and possibly jobs are being fought over up and down the land. With 21 reporters at all the key games and with me in the studio, 3 men very wise to stick to the pundits sofa, I think. Gavin Peacock, Garth Crooks and Carlton Palmer. Right, let's head straight to the action and straight away to West Ham, where Alan Kirbishley has stated he'd rather not dip into the transfer market to support a squad decimated by injuries. His Fulham counterpart, however, keen to bring in new faces. Roy Hodgson believes that signings and hard work will lift Fulham to safety. Has their resurgence started today? I can tell you there's been a goal. Let's find out which way has it gone. Tony Lockwood.
It's gone the way of West Ham, at times unconvincing, but Anton Ferdinand, who scored the winner last time out here at Upton Park in a Premier League game, has struck again. This time to edge West Ham 2-1 in front against a Fulham side who can't win away. Simon Davies gave them the lead, cancelled out by Dean Aston's header, and then Noble with a cross stabbed home from 12 yards out by Ferdinand. 2-1 West Ham.
Thanks, Tony. Straight to the Riverside, where the pressure built on Rafa Benitez today after Middlesbrough took the lead. Have they extended it, or have Liverpool pulled themselves level? Here's Steve Sutton.
Well, I think Rafa's breathing just a little bit easier at the moment, Jake, because Liverpool have pulled it level. And an absolutely fabulous goal from Fernando Torres. He got the ball inside the Middlesbrough half. He was allowed to advance. He was about 20 yards out, unleashed an absolute beauty, which beat Mark Schwarzer all ends up. That equalises the first half goal from George Boateng. We're in for a finish now, 1-1.
17 goals now this season. Right, Arsenal, Birmingham at the Emirates Stadium. Let's get the latest. Mark Bishop.
Arsenal 1, Birmingham City 1. Gary O'Connor's close-range header has given Birmingham's travelling fans every reason to believe, Jake, after Eddie Bayol put the league leaders ahead with a penalty after Kelly had brought down Eduardo. Eduardo's had chances, while Arsenal, though, survived a penalty appeal when Birmingham's Capo went down under a challenge from Senderos. Nicholas Bender has come off the bench to replace Theo Walcott. The game is very evenly poised, 1-1 at the Emirates.
Chelsea's new £15 million man, Nicolas Anelka, is on the pitch at Stamford Bridge. He's come off the bench. Let's find out how he's settling in with his teammates. David Garrido.
Yeah, seems to be settling in very, very well indeed, Jake. It's Chelsea 1, Tottenham 0. We'll talk about the goal in a moment, but he certainly is the new darling of Stamford Bridge. Moments after coming on, he produced a smart left-foot volley on the turn, and the Frenchman's also shown a few nice touches aside that. Could this finally be the time that he fulfills his undoubted talent? Well, as for the goal, it was as much down to Spurs' terrible defending as pure technique and skill. Giuliano Belletti invited to advance forward and unleashed a spectacular 35-yard shot. Dimitar Berbatov has just put a free kick over the bar for Spurs as they try and pile on the pressure, but Joe Cole spurned the chance to put this one to bed. It's Chelsea 1, Tottenham 0.
Just a quick mention on the Scottish Cup. Queen of the South 4, Linlithgow 0. Linlithgow, of course, are a non-league side. They were hoping to upset the odds today, but they haven't managed to do it. And Scott McDonald, after 70 minutes, has scored Celtic's second goal of the afternoon after Jan Vennegoor of Hesselink gave Celtic the lead. Mark Fotheringham has given Norwich the lead away at Barnsley. And it's Sheffield United 2, Queen's Park Rangers 1. Sheffield United have come from behind in that game. And finally, Nottingham Forest 3, Leyton Orient 0. Goals going in absolutely everywhere. And a goal went in at Everton earlier on, and I think possibly goal of the month by Jolyon Lescott. Everton versus Manchester City. Here's Damien Johnson.
Yes, tense, tight and hard fought. Everton ahead through that well-taken first half goal from Jolyon Lescott, his 6th of the season. A real striker's finish at the near post from Mikel Arteta's cross. City have been better in the second half. One dazzling run from Martin Petrov, but clear-cut chances have been as a premium. Neri Castillo's not made much impression for City on his Premier League debut. He's been substituted. No Andy Johnson, incidentally, for Everton, but they lead 1-0.
It's a case of getting to know you on the pitch for Derby. 5 new signings before today's game against Wigan. Ivan Gaskell's watching at Pride Park. Let's find out how the new signings are settling in, Ivan.
Yes, the cry went up, who are you? And that was just from the Derby players. 0-0 here, doing OK. A disjointed Derby, though, trying desperately to stay on terms here. So many new faces, hardly on first-name terms, so we'll give them some leeway. Now they're down to 10 men, too. Claude Davis, whichever you prefer, dismissed for a second yellow card. Wigan may yet pay for some poor finishing. Bent Brown and Valencia all guilty as charged. Neither keepers got their gloves dirty in this second half. Pretty it isn't. 0-0.
Villa unbeaten at home in 5. They're taking on Reading today. Andrew Jones has been watching at Villa Park. Let's get the latest. Andrew.
Jake, Villa marching on. They lead by 2-0. Very similar goals, both supplied by the crossing of Ashley Young-Carew in the first half with a near post header, and then Larson, his 3rd goal in 5 games, all very similar. Headers at the near post, making it 2-0 to Villa. Reading somewhat fortunate that Marcus Hanneman, the goalkeeper, survived a possible red card after coming out of his box and tackling a Bonglahor. No contact with the ball, but he only got a yellow. But some of the refereeing of Uriah Rennie has left both sides and indeed the fans perplexed. It's Aston Villa 2, Reading 0.
Now, gentlemen, we've been keeping our eye across all of these games since 3 o'clock this afternoon. And, Garth, it's been quite a day in the Premier League. Only one game was 0-0 at half-time.
It's been a fantastic afternoon of football. Just to centre on the Middlesbrough-Liverpool just for a moment, Middlesbrough have put up a really spirited performance. It looks like Torres could have got Rafa Benitez out of jail. They didn't have a great performance, but the longer the game's gone on, the more Liverpool have had to really go for it. Great strike by Torres. I just wish
17th goal this season.
And Rafa's messed him about this season, to be fair. It looks like now Middlesbrough are going to have to hang on. I hope they do, because it will be a very good result for Gareth Southgate if they do. And
I mentioned for Nicholas Anelka at your former club, Gavin, you've been keeping your eye very closely on that game. How's he looking?
Well, Anelka's come on, he almost scored straight away. It was superb skill. He was involved in the build-up. He's obviously comfortable within that setup. But to be honest, and Jermaine Defoe's just come on for Tottenham. Tottenham have had a go, I think, second half, and it's a slender lead for Chelsea at 1-0 at the moment.
And Belletti, of course, he set the benchmark for Anelka with a corking goal for Chelsea, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, it was poor defending by Tottenham. He was allowed to run and run and run, but the strike was absolutely fantastic. You know, Sean Wright-Phillips is just revelling in the fact that he's playing regularly. I mean, he's been outstanding, and I think with the African nations, he's going to get an extended run in the side, and when those boys come back, I think they'll find it hard to shift him out of the team now.
OK, just a quick look at the video printer. Gretna of the SPL were 2-0 up against Morton. Morton have now pegged them back to 2-2. And, of course, Motherwell are playing their first game today in quite a few days. They were 2-0 down to Hearts. Chris Porter, after 78 minutes, has scored for them. That's his second one. And there's been a goal at Oakwell. Barnsley versus Norwich. Here's Harry Gratian.
It's now 3-1 to Norwich, Jake. I have to say, 2 goals in a few minutes. The first was claimed by Fotheringham, but to be fair, it was a wicked deflection from Stephen Foster. I don't actually think the ball was going in at that point, but there's no doubt about what's just happened a moment or so ago. Dion Dublin, header, 3-1 Norwich, really playing well now.
Preston, 24th in the Championship against joint top Watford. Here's the details from Richard Askham.
0-0, Jake. Preston are shading it. A Lewis Neal volley, the closest they've come to scoring. At the other end, Andy Lonergan has pulled off a couple of great saves to deny McAnuff and Henderson. But as the second half wears on, it's Preston who look the more likely to score, with Simon Whaley a real threat down their right flank.
Another top versus bottom battle. Bristol City versus Colchester at Ashton Gate for final score is Hamish Marshall.
1-1 at the moment. The home side being denied by a brave display from a side who actually do look better than relegation candidates. But Colchester aren't very good at holding leads. Kevin Lisby put them in front early on, but pressure told and Ivan Sproul's solo effort tied things up. City don't feel the officials have helped them in their cause as they hunt the win, which could see them top the table come 5 o'clock. 1-1.
Ipswich just cannot lose at home. Let's find out how they're faring now against Stoke at Portman Road. Steve May.
Well, it's 1-1 at the moment. 2 excellent goals, though. Danny Haynes' opener, brilliant because of the way he took the pass and beat a Stoke player with the same first touch before finding the correct angle to beat Simonson. And then Ricardo Fuller's equaliser. Pugh cutting up Ipswich on the left-hand side, and Fuller found the right angle. It's 1-1.
Ipswich's last defeat at home, 10th of March last year. Right, now let's head to the Valley, where it's been a corking game for Carrie Davis. She's been watching Charlton versus Blackpool. What a match, Carrie.
It's absolutely fantastic. It's sort of quietened down a bit with Charlton cruising at 4-1. Jerome Thomas could have made it 5-1 just a moment ago, but he was completely unmarked and skied it, much to groans from the crowd. So Charlton currently cruising. They haven't won in 6 games. It looks like they'll get one here tonight. Just to note also, Stephen McPhee is making his debut for Blackpool.
There's been a goal at Deepdale. Preston versus Watford. How have the table toppers got it? Here's Richard Askham.
They haven't, Jake. It is Preston North End 1, Watford 0. Neil Mellor at the second attempt. A deep cross from Simon Whaley was turned back across goal by Lewis Neal. Mellor got his foot on it. It was blocked first of all by Richard Lee in the Watford goal. But Mellor on the rebound stuck it into the top corner. Preston 1, Watford 0.
That goal puts Bristol City to the top of the Championship. Just going back to the Scottish Cup, it's now Celtic 3, Stirling 0. Shunutsi Nakamura with Celtic's third goal there. The last time they played Stirling, they won 8-0. So that's not a bad performance by Stirling. And Luton have pulled a goal back at home to Swansea. Paul Furlong after 74 minutes. It's been another tough week for Luton. Let's head to Molineux. Wolves versus Palace. Here's Steve Lee.
Yes, it's Wolves 0, Palace 3. The Eagles feasting on some fairly dire defending from Wolves, who look a side absolutely bereft of any confidence. Clinton Morrison, Sean Scammell, James Scowcroft have got the goals, delighting the 1,000 or so Palace fans who've travelled up from South London. Palace will go into the playoff zone if they win this, I think. But Wolves, well, what can you say? They haven't won since December the 1st. They're not looking likely to win here too. It's 0-3 Palace.
Has the arrival of Nicolas Anelka fired up his Chelsea teammates? At Stamford Bridge for us to report on a goal is David Garrido.
Absolutely no doubt about that one, Jake. It's Chelsea 2, Tottenham 0, and Nicolas Anelka must be so excited about the service that he's going to get here at Stamford Bridge, because two players combined for the second goal. Real skill on display. Joe Cole, with no space whatsoever, must have been surrounded by 3 or 4 Spurs defenders, created that little bit of space, laid it off to Sean Wright-Phillips, and he drove a right-foot shot past the despairing dive of Radek Cherny. This one's done and dusted. It's Chelsea 2, Tottenham 0.
I can tell you there's been a goal in the Derby-Wigan game. Let's go straight to Pride Park. Here's Ivan Gaskell.
Yes, 9 minutes gone. Derby 0, Wigan, or 9 minutes to go, should I say. Derby 0, Wigan 1, and with his very first touch, substitute Anton Sibierski. A fabulous strike, actually, running onto the ball. It was played into him by Marcus Bent. Really well taken. It's been coming. Derby 0, down to 10 men, and now a goal down too.
Well, 5 new faces for Derby before today's game, but I'm not sure this is how Paul Jewell envisaged it going. Down to 10 men, now a goal down to fellow relegation strugglers Wigan. Not looking good for Derby at all.
Well, first and foremost, I've no doubt that the sending off was justified. Claude.
Oh, without a shadow of doubt.
He led with his arm on both occasions.
Claude Davis.
Yeah. So he's gone. But I think if they can hold out Wigan and get 3 points here, it is a massive victory for them because it really puts them then where it stands, up alongside Reading, up alongside Bolton on 20 points. So this could be a big victory.
I have to say, from Derby's perspective, I think that Paul Jewell is looking long-term here. You know, he's brought players in. Sorry, with Harry Redknapp, it takes a bit of time. When he brought a few players in for Portsmouth, they actually made the great escape when those players settled. Now, will this happen with them? I do not think so. I mean, look, they've got
Gavin,
7 points.
Different calibre of players.
Yeah, different calibre of players, and they had a bit more of a points total as well than Derby have. Yeah. But long-term, those players may be the ones to get them back up.
Now, we haven't accused Chelsea of being exciting too much over the last couple of seasons, but what a day to be a Chelsea fan. Belletti's opener and Sean Wright-Phillips' second goal. Fantastic.
Yeah, but people forget, you know, I mean, Avering Grant, he looks like he's burnt the funhouse down, in all fairness, but they've only got 2 defeats in 24 games, and they're scoring goals.
OK, do you think the arrival of Nicolas Anelka has fired up a few people around that dressing room?
It'll excite people. You talk about exciting players, he's a goal
fired
scorer.
us up. He fires fans up. He's an exciting player with bundles of pace. And I've no doubt that with his goals, the Championship on for Chelsea could be back on.
But interesting, though, just before you go quickly, Jake, that third goal was created by 2 of our great young English sparks. When we talk about all these great foreigners, we've got some great young players. Joe Cole is an exceptional footballer.
Yeah, that's only 2 goals. You're getting a bit ahead of yourself there. Right, let's head to the keep moat. Doncaster versus Carlisle. Here's Mark Clement.
Yes, it's Doncaster 0, Carlisle 0. There's an almighty goalmouth scramble takes place, and Doncaster have just scored. The ball was bubbling all over the place, and I think the last man to get a touch on it was Carlisle's Zigo Arenalde. An own goal. It is Doncaster 1, Carlisle 0.
Swansea top of the league in League One. Nottingham Forest versus Leyton Orient at the City Ground. Can Leyton Orient's good run continue? Here's Chris Dennis.
No, it can't is the answer to that for the moment, because Forest now lead by 3-0. Chris Commons with the third danced his way into the area, fired in a low shot which went in off the left-hand post. It's his 8th of the season. Forest looking good home and hosed, and if my calculations are right, they're heading second tonight.
Chris Dennis, your calculations are spot on. Right, off to the Emirates. Arsenal versus Birmingham. Let's get the latest. Mark Bishop.
8 minutes remaining, Jake. Arsenal 1, Birmingham 1. Difficult to know what David Beckham and this 60,000 crowd will be making of this. The last time Arsenal dropped 2 points back on November the 3rd against Manchester United. Birmingham got themselves back into this game courtesy of a terrific header from Gary O'Connor. Adebayor's penalty put the league leaders ahead in the first half after Kelly had brought down the excellent Eduardo. Arsenal are pumping every ball into that Birmingham half. But I tell you what, the visitors are really holding on. 1-1, 7 minutes to go.
Let's see what's happening down at Stamford Bridge since Chelsea scored their second. They're facing Tottenham. David Garrido.
Yes, welcome back to Avram Grant's Funhouse. Nicholas Anelka, the new housemate, and he's settling right in, isn't he? And how his arrival is really galvanising Chelsea at the moment. Certainly after that second goal, you can only sort of watch and admire as Joe Cole and then Sean Wright-Phillips combined to put Chelsea 2 up. Spurs desperate to get back into this one, but you feel that it's too little too late, really. They're getting a little bit frustrated. O'Hara and Lennon both booked, and Chelsea, it seems, are on their way to make it 74 home league games unbeaten. Chelsea 2, Spurs 0.
Thanks, David. Before today, Leicester 21st in the Championship. They met Coventry today, desperate to get 3 points. Let's get the latest from the Walker Stadium. Mark Webber.
Leicester City 2, Coventry 0. Last week it was 4-20 Blackburn's baked in a pie. This week Coventry wanted to make goulash out of Leicester's 2 new Hungarian signings. It's not to be. Coventry quick to break but slow to score, have been outplayed by Leicester. New boy Steve Howard opened the account in the early doors. He's just been joined by another new boy, Barry Hales, off the bench, super sub, low drive, 2-0 Leicester.
Big goal that by Barry Hales. Let's head to the Riverside Stadium. Middlesbrough taking on Liverpool. Here's Steve Sutton.
Well inside the last 5 minutes now, Jake, and it's 1-1. Middlesbrough with a goal in the first half from George Boateng and a brilliant solo effort from Fernando Torres late on in the second half. Barbel has just shot wide for Liverpool. Stuart Downing's hit a post for Middlesbrough. The last 5 encounters between these two sides here have ended in draws. It's probably going to be the same again today. It's 1-1.
As it stands, Liverpool are one of 4 teams on 39 points. 2 of the others, Everton against Manchester City. Here's Damien Johnson.
Everton still lead by 1-0. A dangerous scoreline that, of course, for the home side. You never can feel quite comfortable. City have huffed and puffed in the second half, but they can't really produce any meaningful pressure on the Everton goal. Its defence is very much on top. Everton lead 1-0.
More bad news for Luton. Swansea have gone 3-1 up. Jason Scotland after 82 minutes. Now, can Derby do anything to claw Wigan back? Ivan Gaskell's at Pride Park.
Derby 0, Wigan 1 is the scoreline, and I doubt it, frankly. They haven't looked like scoring in this game, and it's hard to see how, down to 10 men and some desperation in the air, that's going to change anytime soon. They have a long throw now. That's how desperate we're getting here. Sibierski's goal with his very first touch is going to be the difference, I'm fairly confident, but we'll see. Derby 0, Wigan 1.
West Ham have struggled at home lately. 1-2, drawn 2, lost 2 is how it's looking for them from the last 6 games. They're at home to Fulham today. Tony Lockwood's at Upton Park.
Yes, West Ham have struggled, but Fulham cannot win away, and it looks as if it's going to be another defeat for Roy Hodgson's side. West Ham 2, Fulham 1. The one bit of good news for Fulham, Jimmy Bullard, 16 months out with a career-threatening injury, has come on to rapturous applause. Chris Baird should have equalised, heading over from 3 yards out, but Anton Ferdinand could be the unlikely and possible match winner for the Hammers. West Ham 2, Fulham 1.
Good to hear that Jimmy Bullard's back. Aston Villa just moments ago went about as close as you can to scoring without doing so. They're at home to Reading. Here's Andrew James.
Yep, Villa 2, Reading 0, Jake, is the score, and Villa really have done a very good job. They first of all won the right to play in the match, and then they've shown some good skills and have really been deserved winners, if indeed that's how it goes over the next 5 minutes or so. Carew with a goal in the first half, Larson with the second. There was a shout for a third goal for Villa. Carew involved in that, but the offside flag had gone up very early on this right-hand side, and that chance wasn't allowed to stand. Hanneman could also have had a red early on. Reading lucky that the scoreline isn't more emphatic. It's Villa 2, Reading 0.
Well, Gabriel Agbonlahor flagged for offside. Would you agree with that decision, Garth?
I think it was onside personally. It was very tight, but I think the linesman, the assistant referee, was very, very quick to bring his flag up. It was a lovely move, by the way, involving another 2 young English players, Ashley Young and Agbonlahor. Death finish, but not to be.
And the young Englishmen are doing the business for Villa. They're up to 6th as results stand.
And it just proves a point, doesn't it? He hasn't got the squad to rotate. He's had to play his players, and these are young players, and they're revelling in playing every week.
Martin O'Neill you're talking about?
Martin O'Neill. So it just tells you that, you know, When you look at Arsenal, you look at Manchester United, who don't rotate. They rest players if they think a player needs a rest. The rotation doesn't work.
OK,
Young's on fire, by the way.
Nottingham Forest have gone 4-0 up against Leyton Orient. What's that, gentlemen?
Villa. Young's on fire.
Anelka's just hit the bar.
And actually, Young's just scored. They're on fire.
Goal at Villa Park. Let's get the details. Andrew James.
It's the third goal for Aston Villa, and it's gone to John Carew, who got the final touch. But again, those players you've been mentioning, Ashley Young and Gabby Agbonlahor, involved in the build-up. Poor Marcus Hanneman on this occasion spread himself as well as he could at the Holt end. But when big John Carew was closing in, there wasn't a great deal that could be done to prevent him his second goal of the afternoon. It's Aston Villa 3, Reading 0.
What a day it's turning into for Aston Villa. And Linlithgow Rose went into their game today against Queen of the South in the Scottish Cup, hoping it would be quite a day for them as well. They're non-league, and Ian Turner's watching them at Palmerston Park. Ian, not a good day for Linlithgow.
No, indeed, we can hardly see the pitch now because the fog's coming in, but it's not going to save Linlithgow. It's going to finish Queen of the South 4, Linlithgow 0, and for about 10 minutes it looks as if it might just be a decent cup tie with Linlithgow making an assured start. But when Queen's top scorer Stephen Dobie gave the Division 1 side a fortuitous lead, the Rose wilted. Captain Jim Thompson headed home a second, and by half-time it was all over thanks to Sean O'Connor's low shot. Stuart MacArthur's own goal completed Linlithgow's misery, and there is the final whistle. Queen of the South 4, Linlithgow Rose 0.
Thanks, Ian. It also finished Hearts 2, Motherwell 2, Falkirk 2, Aberdeen 2. Those are all in the fourth round of the Scottish Cup. Let's go to Deepdale, where Preston are playing Watford, and get the latest news from Richard Askham.
Preston 1, Watford 0. Preston still attacking after that goal from Mellor. Aidy Boothroyd has brought on John Joe O'Toole for Watford to try and push for an equaliser, and indeed he came within half a foot of doing just that a moment ago. His shot sailing just over, but it's still Preston leading by that single goal.
West Brom and Hull kick off at 5:20 in the Championship, and let's head around the grounds now and get the latest from the Championship. At Ashton Gate, Hamish Marshall's watching Bristol City against strugglers Colchester. What's the latest, Hamish?
Well, the latest is the fourth officials holding a board saying we've got 4 minutes of stoppage time to play. It's 1-1. Bristol City throwing everything at Colchester, but they can't break through. The visitors have lost their goalkeeper, Dean Gudgin. He was knocked down in a goalmouth scramble. He looked concussed and even had to be dragged from the field. Time is running out, though, and City may well pay for a sluggish start to the second half. 1-1.
From the top of the Championship to the top of League One, Nottingham Forest versus Leyton Orient. Here's Chris Dennis.
Well, if they thought it was all over before, Jake, it is now, because Forest now lead by 4-0. Matt Thornhill, substitute, has slotted home the fourth into an empty net. Forest definitely heading second now. They lead Orient by 4-0.
Let's dip back into the Premier League and get the latest from around the grounds. Arsenal are playing Birmingham at the Emirates. Here's Mark Bishop.
Arsenal 1, Birmingham City 1, 30 seconds plus stoppage. Arsene Wenger, the Arsenal manager, is beside himself with rage. Into the technical area. Arsenal are throwing everything inside that Birmingham City penalty area. Cleb, Flamini and Eduardo have all gone close. But Birmingham are holding on thanks to that goal from their number 8, Gary O'Connor. Going into stoppage time, one apiece as I speak. Cleb clears it and it's off the line. That's how close Arsenal have come. The ball is still in play, but it's one apiece at the Emirates.
OK, let's go to Middlesbrough at Liverpool. Middlesbrough, of course, took the lead against Liverpool today. The latest from the Riverside Stadium, Steve Sutton.
Well, we're well inside the 3 minutes added on by the referee, Jake, and it's still 1-1. But Liverpool very nearly stole this right at the death. They won a corner, and Sami Hyypiä's header cleared off the line by the goalkeeper, Mark Schwartz's feet. Just before that, Stephen Gerrard, we thought we'd seen a 25-yarder special from him, but Schwarzer palmed it over the bar. It's still 1-1, time running out.
Burnley had no league wins in 7 before today. They've been entertaining Plymouth at Turf Moor. The full-time whistle's gone. James Mason.
Yeah, Burnley won, Plymouth 0, Jake. The home side well deserved this important 3 points, all thanks to Robbie Blake's excellent second-half volley. He could have doubled their advantage, but his swirling 70-minute strike went just round the post. Plymouth were poor and can have no complaints. Burnley won, Plymouth 0.
There's been another goal in the Premier League. Can you guess where it's gone in? That's right, Villa Park. Here's Andrew James.
It's gone to Reading. Martin O'Neill may be regretting making a treble substitution. James Harper is the man with the Reading goal. Villa brought off those star players, Ashley Young, Gabby Agbonlahor and John Carew. Within seconds of that, the disorientation had set in, and James Harper stole through to score for Reading, but it doesn't look like it's going to affect the scoreline with 2 minutes of stoppage time. Still to play, Villa 3, Reading 1.
It was a big day for struggling Fulham today. They travelled from West to East London to take on West Ham. The full-time whistle's gone. Here's Tony Lockwood.
No joy on the road for Roy Hodgson's Fulham, beaten 2-1 at the Bowling Ground. Fulham stay in the bottom three, ahead early on when a Simon Davies free kick drifted in. West Ham levelled when Dean Ashton connected with Freddie Ljungberg's right wing cross. Ashton denied a hat-trick, 2 excellent saves by Niemi, and it was left for Anton Ferdinand to stab home a winner from 12 yards out. Chris Baird should have equalised late on. A few yards out, he headed over. West Ham held on just, and Fulham lose again on the road. West Ham 2, Fulham 1.
For a long time today, it looks as though Middlesbrough were going to crank up the pressure on Rafael Benitez. At the Riverside Stadium was Steve Sutton.
Yes, it's finished. Middlesbrough 1, Liverpool 1. George Boateng opened the scoring for Middlesbrough on 26 minutes of the first half, sliding home from close range. And it took a moment of genius from Fernando Torres late on in the second half. A 25-yard thunderbolt to beat Mark Schwartz. Stuart Downing hit the post for Middlesbrough. Sami Hyypiä saw a header very late on, cleared off the line. Middlesbrough can feel most disappointed. Liverpool perhaps can feel relieved.
Nicolas Anelka made his debut for Chelsea today. I wonder if he liked what he saw. They hosted Tottenham. With all the details, here's David Garrido.
You're joking, aren't you, Jake? Chelsea 2, Tottenham 0, and in 2 moments, Chelsea fans have been given a tantalising glimpse of Anelka's sheer talent. He twice came close to capping off a dream debut with a goal. One volley on the turn, tipped away by Radic Cherny. Then a shot also hitting the bar, but bouncing just the wrong side of the line for him. As for the goals, they came courtesy of a 35-yarder from Juliano Belletti. Spectacular enough, but he really should have been closed down. And a right-foot drive from Sean Wright-Phillips after a typically cheeky bit of skill from Joe Cole. But with that kind of talent around him, Anelka must surely finally feel that he's moving in the right kind of circles. Chelsea 2, Tottenham 0.
Aston Villa are also moving in the right sort of circles. They were gunning for their 3rd straight home win today against Reading. The full-time whistle's gone. All the details on the match from Andrew James.
Yes, Aston Villa 3, Reading 1. Happy days at Villa Park. 2 goals for John Carew and a 3rd in 5 games from Martin Larsson gave Villa victory. And although James Harper pulled one back in stoppage time, the scoreline reflects Villa's domination of this match, despite the efforts of referee Uriah Rennie to stamp his own impact on the game. Europe stand by. Martin O'Neill and John Robertson are on their way back. Villa 3, Reading 1.
Arsenal have dropped points at home for only the 2nd time this season, much to the delight of Alex McLeish, I'm sure. Let's get the details from Mark Bishop.
After 1, Birmingham City 1, Alex McLeish's side, only the 2nd team this season to get a point at the Emirates, and that's going back to November the 3rd. Gary O'Connor's close-range header got the all-important equaliser for the visitors, playing in front of a crowd of more than 60,000, including David Beckham. Adebayor put the league leaders ahead from the penalty spot after Kelly brought down Eduardo. Birmingham should have had a spot kick themselves when Capo was surely upended by Senderos. Arsenal threw everything at Birmingham in the second half. Kleb, Senderos and Eduardo all going close. But what a result for Alex McLeish. Arsenal 1, Birmingham City 1.
Derby had lost 10 of their last 11 games before today. They went shopping for new faces, hoping it would turn things around, but it hasn't. The details from Pride Park, Ivan Gaskell.
Yes, Wigan have edged it. Derby's new boys very disjointed, very much a reconstruction project in progress. They have eyes on a bigger picture, which surely includes now 1 step back into the Championship. The deserved dismissal of defender Claude Davis hardly helped their seemingly lost cause. Wigan, despite spurning a number of glorious chances, eventually found a way through. Sibierski with a fine strike, low into the corner, the best first touch you're likely to see from the Wigan sub. As time had begun to run out, for Derby it surely has. A huge boost to Wigan, 1-0 winners here.
On paper, this one looked like an absolute cracker. 6th versus 4th at Goodison Park. Here's Damien Johnson with the details on Everton versus Manchester City.
Yes, Jake, Everton have won this battle of the Champions League pretenders. It was tense and tight all afternoon. Everton took the lead with a lovely goal on the half hour. Great approach play, a drilled near-post cross from Mikel Arteta. And Jolien Lescott ghosted in for a fine striker's finish. His 6th goal of the season, not bad for a defender. Chances were at a premium all afternoon. Cahill tested Joe Hart in the City goal. Although City improved in the second half, they couldn't muster any meaningful pressure on the Everton goal. A resolute rearguard effort kept the visitors at bay. Howard saved a late Petrov drive, and Everton prevail.
West Brom may kick off at 5:20, but as things stand, Bristol City are top of the Championship. What a great day for them. Let's get the details from Ashton Gate. Here's Hamish Marshall.
Yeah, it's a great day in terms of going top, but they won't be that happy about it because they'll feel this was 2 points that got away. They did, well, the better side, but they created too few chances. Colchester battled hard. It could be a valuable point in their relegation fight, and they had a very strong penalty appeal turned down in the dying seconds. Yep, City are top, but it's 2 points that got away. 1-1.
Preston, struggling in 24th, took on Watford at Deepdale today. There'd only be one winner, wouldn't there? Here's Richard Askell.
No, Jake, it was Preston 1, Watford 0. A deserved win secured by Neil Mellor on a substitute to score from close range. New signing for the home side. Watford denied by Andy Lonergan acrobatics more than once, came close late on, but never really showed enough ambition for a team with ambitions for the Premiership.
Great day for Charlton at the Valley. They're up to 5th, and what a game it was as well. Here's Carrie Davis.
Well, Charlton's promotion campaign firmly back on track then after beating the in-form Blackpool 4-1. It was a frenetic opening 20 minutes. Majid Bouguera putting Charlton ahead, heading home down Ambrose's corner. Luke Varney then made it 2-0 shortly afterwards before Ben Burgess pulled one back for Blackpool. But Zheng Zi restored Charlton's 2-goal lead. Ambrose found Varney down the left. He pulled it back, and Zheng was bang in the centre to drill it down to the right, low in the corner. 7 minutes into the second half, Zheng extended the home side's lead, profiting after Bouguera's header came back off the post. It's Charlton's first win at home since the start of December, and now level on points with Stoke.
Crystal Palace are now unbeaten in 14 games. Today they travel to Wolves. Watching at Molineux with Steve Lee.
Channel Heat.
Sorry about that, but I can tell you that Crystal Palace have made their way into the playoff zone. Now that most of the results are in, the teams have retreated back to their dressing rooms. But rest assured, as the managers and players emerge, we'll bring you their reaction to the day's games first. But for now, over to Tim Gudgin for the classified football results.
And as usual, opening with the Barclays Premier League. Arsenal 1, Birmingham City 1. Aston Villa 3, Reading 1. Chelsea 2, Tottenham Hotspur 0. Derby County 0, Wigan Athletic 1. Everton 1, Manchester City 0. Manchester United and Newcastle United kick off at 5:15. Middlesbrough 1, Liverpool 1. West Ham United 2, Fulham 1. In the Coca-Cola Championship, Barnsley 1, Norwich City 3. Bristol City 1, Colchester United 1. Burnley 1, Plymouth Argyle 0. Cardiff City 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0. Charlton Athletic 4, Blackpool 1. Hull City and West Brom kick off at 5:20. Ipswich Town 1, Stoke City 1. Leicester City 2, Coventry City 0. Preston North End 1, Watford 0. Sheffield United 2, Queen's Park Rangers 1. Southampton 1, Scunthorpe United 0. Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, Crystal Palace 3. In the Coca-Cola League 1, Cheltenham Town 1, Bournemouth 0. Doncaster Rovers 1, Carlisle United 0. Huddersfield Town 1, Gillingham 3. Luton Town 1, Swansea City 3. Northampton Town 1, Hartlepool United 1. Nottingham Forest 4, Leyton Orient 0. Oldham Athletic 1, Brighton Hove Albion 1. Port Vale 3, Millwall 1. Southend United 1, Yeovil Town 1. Walsall 2, Swindon Town 2. In League 2, Bradford City 3, Notts County 0. Brentford 2, Chesterfield 1. Chester City 0, Mansfield Town 1. Darlington 3, Bury 0. Grimsby Town 1, Wrexham 0. Lincoln City 1, Rotherham United 3. Milton Keynes Dons 0, Barnet 1. Morecambe 1, Dagenham and Redbridge 0. Peterborough United 0, Macclesfield Town 1. Stockport County 2, Accrington Stanley 0. Wycombe Wanderers 0, Rochdale 1. In the Blue Square Premier, Salisbury 3, Oxford United 1. And Tennant Scottish Cup, 4th round. Airdrie United and Kilmarnock, match postponed. Celtic 3, Stirling Albion 0. Clyde and Dundee United, Cove Rangers and Ross County, both postponed. Falkirk 2, Aberdeen 2. Hamilton Academical 0, Brecon City 0. Hearts 2, Motherwell 2. Hibernian 3, Inverness Caledonian Thistle 0. Huntly and Dundee and Livingston and Cowdenbeath postponed. Morton 2, Gretna 2. And finally Partick Thistle and Dunfermline Athletic postponed. Queen of the South 4, Linlithgow Rose 0. St Johnstone and Wraith Rovers match postponed. St Mirren 3, Dumbarton 0. Ernbury Scottish Division 2, Alloa Athletic 2, Berwick Rangers 1. And Scottish Division 3, Elgin City and Albion Rovers match postponed. Likewise Forfar Athletic and Arbroath. Montrose 0, East Fife 1. In the Welsh Premier, Airbus UK 1, Port Talbot 0. Glenavon 2, Carmarthen 1. Haverfordwest 3, Portmarnock 2. Llanelli 5, Llangefni Town 0. Neath 1, Rhyl 1. Newcefn Druids 0, Aberystwyth 2. Newtown 4, Connors Quay 1. And New Saints FC 2, Bangor City 1.
OK, time to bring you bang up to date now with the league tables, starting in the Premier League. And Arsenal are still top, but their draw with Birmingham means that Manchester United can overtake the Gunners if they beat Newcastle in today's late game. Chelsea keep pace with the leading pair after extending their unbeaten home league run at Stamford Bridge to 74 games. Liverpool were held at Middlesbrough but still move up to 4th. Everton, they rise to 5th after beating Manchester City. A big win for Everton. City dropped to 7th. And towards the bottom, Derby's 11th defeat in 12 games mean they're still well adrift at the foot of the Premier League. Fulham missed the chance to move closer to safety with defeat at West Ham. They stay 19th. Wigan's victory at Derby's helped their hopes of avoiding relegation. Sunderland play Portsmouth tomorrow, but would need to win by a hatful to climb out of the relegation zone. Into the Championship, and Bristol City are the new leaders. Congratulations to them, but that's only for now at least. They were held to a draw at home to struggling Colchester, but just inch ahead of overnight leaders West Brom, who kick off at Hull in a few moments' time. Watford blew the chance to go top. They lost it, and Stoke could only draw for the 4th successive game, but there were emphatic wins for Charlton and Crystal Palace. And at the bottom of the Championship, Colchester have returned to the foot of the table despite their credible draw at Bristol City. Previous incumbents Preston enjoyed a home win over Watford, and they also move above Scunthorpe. Leicester and Norwich were the big winners among the struggling sides, both moving away from the relegation zone. Into League One, Swansea's victory at Luton means they extend their lead at the top to 3 points. Nottingham Forest beat Leyton Orient to move ahead of Carlisle, who lost to Doncaster. They climb to 4th. Leeds play Crewe on Monday, and a win could see Dennis Wise's team leap to 3rd. What a story for Leeds United. Bournemouth are now propping up the table after losing to relegation rivals Cheltenham. Port Vale enjoyed a rare victory today that lifts them up to 23rd. Cheltenham's win sees them rise to 21st above Luton, who lost to Swansea. And finally down into League Two, Milton Keynes Dons are still 8 points clear at the top despite a surprise home defeat to Barnet. Rotherham narrow the gap after continuing their good away form, but Hereford will go above them if they beat Shrewsbury tomorrow. Darlington move up 3 places to 4th as the 3 sides now immediately below them all lost. And at the bottom of League Two, Wrexham suffered their 7th successive defeat and find themselves further adrift at the bottom because Mansfield won at Chester. There were defeats for Dagenham and Redbridge, Lincoln, Notts County and Bury. So there you go, bang up to date with the league tables. You're watching Final Score, and these are the day's Premier League headlines. Gary O'Connor's equaliser dents Arsenal's title hopes. Emmanuel Adebayor had given the Gunners the lead from the penalty spot. £15 million man Nicolas Anelka makes his Chelsea debut, but it's Belletti's belter that steals the headlines for the Blues, whose second goal came courtesy of Sean Wright-Phillips. Torres comes to Liverpool's rescue, but it's more points dropped for Rafa's Reds. They haven't won at the Riverside for 6 years. Sibierski's strike means more misery for Derby at the hands of Paul Jewell's old club Wigan. Jolyon Lescott's 6th goal of the season gives Everton the points at Goodison Park. 3-goal Villa move into the top 6 and leave Reading still searching for their first away win of the season. And Anton Ferdinand's 2nd goal in 3 league games piles on the pain for Fulham, who remain mired in the relegation zone. Don't forget you can see all of these games. Match of the day this evening, 10:10 on BBC One. That's repeated 7:35 tomorrow morning on BBC One. Well, let's talk about the day in the Premier League, because it's been quite a day. I think the story has to be Chelsea close the gap on the leaders.
Absolutely right. Arsenal have not been convincing today. Birmingham and Alec McLeish get a well-earned point. He's making progress there. Arsenal have allowed Chelsea to close the gap. Manchester United looking over the shoulder, just making sure that they can keep their head above water. Lescott's finish at Everton was first class. Middlesbrough Southgate, I thought, well-earned points. Benitez let out of jail today.
I think Garth summed everything up. Nothing left for you to say.
Sorry, guys.
But I do think that Birmingham and Middlesbrough fans will be going home the happiest this evening. 2 fantastic draws for them.
Yeah, no, two great results. You know, for Birmingham, Mike Taylor was fantastic in goal. I mean, in the first half, Arsenal could have been out of sight. Liverpool, I think that's not a good result for Rafa Benitez taking a point there. They're totally out the title race now. And with the form of the teams above them, or just below them, sorry, you start wondering, you know, are the likes of Villa and Portsmouth and Everton and Man City going to finish above them?
Who would have thought it?
12 points now separate Liverpool from the leaders Arsenal. We're about to hear from Rafa Benitez. Do you think Liverpool can close that gap, Gavin?
No. I mean, at the beginning of the season, I think everyone was optimistic about Liverpool. As it's gone on, I think it's become more and more of a pressure cooker there, and I think it's been ignited by the relationship between Benitez and his owners.
OK, well, those are the thoughts of the guys on the sofa. What about the thoughts of Rafa Benitez? Here he is, talking to Alistair Mann.
Rafa, the first half and the second half, 2 different sides to Liverpool in many respects, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think that we started really well. We had a clear chance with Gerrard after a corner, and after we were not the best in the first half, but the second half much better. The team was pushing, going forward, and again creating chances.
Did you feel there was need for a change of position and formation, maybe a personnel, certainly in the second half?
Yeah, we changed, you know, in the first half we changed, the beginning of the second half we changed Arbeloa for Babel, so we were trying to be more offensive. And after we needed to change again in the midfield, so we had more control, plenty of possession, and we were going forward and controlling, but, you know, to draw away sometimes it's good, but when you want to win, it's not the best result.
So you feel disappointed in the event of only getting a point today?
Especially with the last half an hour, because we were pushing all the time, and you could see that they were wasting time, because for them a draw could be good. And okay, it's as you know, when you are changing things and everything is going well in the second half, you can say, okay, we'll try until the end.
Well, not a great day for Rafa Benitez, but I'm sure Alex McLeish is smiling. We can now hear from him. He's talking to Son and Brotherton about Birmingham's draw with Arsenal.
Congratulations, Alex. Manchester United, the only other side to come here and get a point this season.
Yeah, it was back to the wall at times, but it was a test for character, and you know, the lads baffle me sometimes. You know, we're a bit of a roller coaster, but they've shown superb character against 3 of the best teams in the country: Tottenham, Manchester United, and now Arsenal. And yeah, we had lady luck a wee bit at times, but also fantastic team shape and organisation. The players have got to cross the white line and then go and do that, and they have to have the bottle to do that, and they showed that today.
Now, getting an equaliser 3 minutes from the end is one thing, but 3 minutes into the second half, I mean, did it make for a long second period?
Absolutely. When I turned to a sub, and one of the substitutes, and he said there was 25 seconds to go of the overtime, and I thought it was the longest 25 seconds ever. But it was a long second half, and Arsenal, a cracking team, but we did frustrate them, and we stood firm in the end.
Big win at the bottom today for Wigan. Let's hear from their manager now, Steve Bruce. He's talking to Ian Gwynne-Hughes.
Steve, maybe for those watching, not the most exciting game, but in the context of your season, a massive, massive win for you.
Well, yeah, because I thought at half-time we should have been out of sight, really. We've had 2 or 3 great opportunities, and you don't really get that many away from home in the Premier League. The second half was just you're right, a dull affair, and we were perhaps better against 11 men, but Sobieski's come on and showed that little bit of class, what you need, which has obviously helped us today.
Obviously, the sending off gave you the man advantage. Doesn't always work to your advantage, does it?
It's sometimes difficult because they set the stall out and And they're not hanging on, but they're defensively, they made it difficult, and Julie's reshuffled it as you expect them to be, and they're more difficult to beat. The big chances we had were in the first half. We had wonderful chances from the first minute, really. We've had 4 really good chances in the first half. And as I said, you think, well, is it going to be one of them days? Thankfully, as we said, Sobieski comes on, I think, with his first touches, has bobbled one in the bottom corner.
Great day for Wigan and Steve Bruce, but just going back to what Rafa Benitez had to say. He said that Liverpool started well, and I think the general consensus here in the studio, and you guys were watching the entire match, is that's the one thing Liverpool didn't do.
They didn't do, and that's a worrying sign for me, because generally, you come out, you've got to be honest. But I'm going to give you a fact now. When you look at winning the title, you look at the players that Liverpool, that Benitez has signed. He's got 2 match winners in his side, Gerrard and Torres. If you look at Arsenal, they've got several. If you look at Manchester United, they've got several. Chelsea have now added, before they relied heavily on Lampard and Drogba, they've now added Anelka. He's bought good players, but not necessarily match winners.
And therein lies the problem, because they've drawn 9 games, and that's not good enough form. 5 at home, 4 away.
So 2 wins in 7, Garth, for Liverpool.
When I watch Liverpool, they are brimming with talent, and I take the point the boys are making. But I always think, with the talent they've got, Liverpool are so cautious. They play Middlesbrough at the Riverside, and, they've got very, very good players, but they're waiting until the last 20 minutes of the game to really force the issue. They're chasing the game, and if they take the game by the scruff of the neck, like they should do, and the talent suggests, I don't think they have a problem, and I don't think they'd be in this position.
Now, Manchester United aren't far from kicking off. I'm sure that Sir Alex Ferguson is well aware that Arsenal have dropped points at home for just the 2nd time this season. Not a good time for Arsenal to be doing that.
Well, it's a big month for Arsenal, because without Toure, I think that this is a huge miss. If one player can make such a difference, and he is the heart of their defence, and it's going to be a crucial few weeks.
Some managers have had a good day, others have had a bad one. But Garth, to sum up, a great day in the Premier League today.
An excellent day of football, lots of goals, lots of excitement, a much match of the day watch.
Fantastic. Well, it certainly has been an entertaining afternoon's football, and there's lots more to come from BBC Sport this weekend, from Match of the Day this evening to the last word on the weekend's action in Match of the Day 2 tomorrow. And there's live football as Manchester City tried to make home advantage count in their FA Cup 3rd round replay with West Ham, live on BBC One this Wednesday evening. And there are 12 replays in total during the week in the FA Cup. Keep across them all with our midweek score special available via the red button. And we're far from finished here on Score for today, as the reaction from the day's matches continues to filter through to the studio. We'll discuss it first, so make sure that you press red to stick with Score. If you have the capability to do that, fantastic. If not, thank you very much for joining all 4 of us. It's been a great day, and I hope your team got the result they needed. Have a good Saturday evening. Bye-bye.